1 minute until showtime.
Yay! No good. No, that was 90. I know my asthmatic grandmother could do better than that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's about as good as we're going to get. Okay, thanks anyway, folks. Appreciate it.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buzz McKim.
Well, hello there. Geez, I almost forgot to talk. Thank you very much. And my co-host today is Tony Hines. How you doing, Tony?
Doing good, ready.
Good. We expect big things out of you today.
Yeah, I'll try.
All right, we'll see how it works out. You know, this guy that's sitting next to me here, what a racer. I watched him race for years on the local circuit and also at Daytona and Talladega, and he came this close to stinking up Kyle Petty's first win in that ARCA race back there in '79. And he's got some great stories. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one here. This is Mr. Phil Finney, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah. Now, you're originally from Wisconsin, right?
Yes, I was born in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of our favorite people are from Wisconsin. Yeah, there you go. But you weren't there very long, though, were you?
No, my family moved down to Florida in 1953, so been transplanted. Born in 1950, so I was only 3 years old when we moved down to Florida, so pretty much Florida is all I know.
Yeah. Now, your stepfather was involved in racing around here, wasn't he?
Yes. My stepfather was in the Air Force, stationed there at Patrick Air Force Base, which is now called Patrick Space Force Base.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And he participated in racing at O'Galley Speedway, which went to change to Melbourne Speedway when they incorporated the whole city area, and also down at Fort Pierce. So those were the early tracks that we started out going to.
Okay. And what was O'Galley? Was it a half mile, quarter mile?
No, O'Galley was just a little quarter mile, just slightly banked asphalt, but it was a really great place.
Yeah, we went down there when I was a kid one time, and I remember the racing was really, really good. I was very impressed. And they sure got around that flat track really well.
Yep, they really did. It changed a lot over the years. I can remember when there was no walls around it, and you go off the one end of the track and into the pits. Well, after they had a couple cars go off and into the pit area, they ended up putting sandbanks there to keep the cars from going into pits and causing an injury.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, be darned.
And then finally they did build a wall around the turns there.
Now, there was a track down in Fort Pierce for a while, right?
Yes, on Angle Road there was a Treasure Coast Spaceway, they called it, Raceway they called it.
Did you race there?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, what was that a half?
No, it was a little quarter. It
was it?
Had slightly more banking than what O'Galley did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but is O'Galley still in existence?
No, those tracks are all gone.
Oh.
It's turned into a business warehouse area there in O'Galley, Melbourne.
Yeah. Yeah, now, is there any O'Galley itself anymore, or has it been absorbed by Melbourne?
Well, it's been pretty much absorbed by Melbourne. Old-timers still know the O'Galley area, but and the high school there is O'Galley High School. But, Melbourne is the main city now.
Yeah. Now, you guys were in Florida for a while, but then you moved to California.
Yeah, my stepdad got transferred to Vandenberg Air Force Base there in California. So we were out there for 2 years, and that is where I started racing.
Yeah. And you did a little bit of dirt racing?
Yeah, there was a Santa Maria Speedway. It was a 3rd-mile clay track, and that's where I started racing.
Yeah. Got Rookie of the Year that year, too.
Yeah, 1967.
I'll be darned.
It was a 6-cylinder novice class. Yes, I received the Rookie of the Year award.
Well, that's pretty good at the age of 17.
Yeah, at the age of 17.
Not too shabby. 17, I was still trying to figure out how to walk and chew gum at the same time. Yeah. How about you, Tony? Did you ever do any racing?
No.
No? No racing?
No.
Just spectating?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When you started racing at 17, did you have to do something to get a license, or did they just let you on the track?
No, they had an association that you were a member of, but other than that, as long as you held a driver's license and you could drive.
Be darned. Yeah, I started when I was 15.
Yeah.
And if you could hear thunder and see lightning, that was all you needed to do. You know, they let anybody run as long as you had your pit pass.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things now that, with all these kids starting out so young, used to it was you had to hold a driver's license in the state you were from to be able to race.
Right.
And now they've got, 12-year-olds running late model classes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's, I don't know, starting them a little bit too early, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, one of our little buddies here is a guy named Trey Mills, and he's really doing well. I think he's only 15 now. And we knew him when he was just little. I think he's still little, but he's beating the boys.
Yep.
I mean, beating the men.
Yep.
Just amazing.
But a lot of it starts out with the iRacing, that the kids learn from that and just carry on. And next thing you know, they're at a racetrack driving a car.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you wonder how young it can be, because I hear of 12-year-olds that are out there racing now. Yeah. And, of course, they start out with go-karts and stuff like that. Now, you did a little bit of go-kart racing, too, didn't you?
Yeah. As kids, we had go-karts off and on and different things. And then as it went up through racing, my boys had go-karts, so we were involved with them with racing. And then even after I stopped racing stock cars, I dabbled in go-karts every now and then. We'd go to one of the big events, basically here at Daytona, in the winter, when they would have at the dirt track there, Memorial Stadium, between Christmas and New Year's.
Yep.
They would have the WKA dirt track races and different classes. And at that time, I would run in the over 35 class, which I think I was 40-something at that time. But it was a fun thing to do.
I bet. Did you ever run the big track? The big speedway?
And go-karts?
Yeah.
No.
I know some people that have. That Norman Deach over there, he's run the big track.
Yep.
I can't even imagine what that's like.
Yep.
It must feel like you're doing 100,000 miles an hour when you're being that close to the ground.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Norman, we've met or know Norman from the go-karting. He officiates at the Volusia go-kart track out here. And then Norman also, he used to come down and race at the old Galley track every now and then. So
he had a Saab.
Yeah.
It was a two-stroke Saab.
Yeah.
And the exhaust pipes came out the front instead of the back. Yeah. And nobody wanted to run with them because it would shake your fillings loose.
Yep.
The darn thing was so loud. Yeah, that was quite a car. I remember that as a kid. It's amazing. But, yes, sir.
Yeah, Phil, your car number was always 80, it appears. Where did 80 come from?
Well, originally it started out that my stepdad, he ran number 98. They ran Oldsmobiles back then, and so it was Oldsmobile 98.
Sure.
Okay. So we kind of just picked up and ran number 98. Well, when I started racing in California, the 6-cylinder class had to have a 3-digit number, so I ran 980. I ran 980.
Okay.
So then when we came back to Florida, there were a lot of 98's already running, so we just switched over and dropped to number 80. Actually, we bought a car that was a number 80 one time, and that's where we
really,
and that's what we stayed with.
I'll be darned. I think it's always interesting where numbers come from. It's funny if you look at Ricky Rudd. His first car that he ran was, or one of the first cars that his father owned that he ran on the Cup circuit was number 22, black and gold, because he loved Fireball Roberts.
Yep.
And Fireball Roberts ran number 22 because he loved Red Byron. And Red Byron always ran number 22 because that was Red Boat's birthday, September 22nd. So it goes back like several generations, the iteration of that number.
Yep.
That's something. Yeah, so when did you decide to get into late models?
Well, after my father went back to, or my stepfather went back to California again, and so my brother and I, Wally, decided we would get more involved in it, and built our own car to run down at the old O'Galley Speedway, and just ventured on from there. Well, we were going to the tracks every week, and there was no parts dealer or anything like that. So Wally had the idea, look, let's start a parts business. There was no tire dealer there or anything, and we started looking around. And at that time, they were just running recap tires on the stock class that we were running, and so we found where you could get the recap tires. So we started buying the recap tires and put a tire truck together, and we would come and sell tires to the competitors, and then we branched out and started carrying parts and busting tires and fixing flats and everything at the racetrack. So that's kind of how we tried to supplement our racing in doing the parts business and selling tires and wheels and whatnot.
I'll be darned. I bet you had a heck of a business there too, didn't you?
Well, it turned out pretty good. We would, when we'd go to West Palm to run in the one class down there, one of us would go down early and go down to Walker Tire and pick up the recap tires and go to run West Palm on Friday night, and then come back and sell the tires Saturday night at O'Galley.
I'll be darned.
But the problem was they were running at the same class at West Palm, so the guys were over trying to buy tires off of us at West Palm, which we weren't set up to sell them at West Palm because there was a tire dealer there already. So we were, no, we can't sell you these. We're taking them back to sell them tomorrow night at O'Galley.
I'll be darned. Yeah, that Palm Beach, that was some racetrack. I remember going there as a kid.
Yeah, that was a fast track.
High bank, half mile, old telephone poles for a guardrail.
Yeah, there was some old pictures that you really saw something. Well, the Palm Beach, the 1 and 2 turn was banked, and then 3 and 4 was kind of a wasn't totally flat, but it was not banked like the front 1 and 2 turn was. But that was a fun track to race.
Oh yeah, a lot of good boys from South Florida around there.
Yep. Bobby Brack, Dickie Anderson.
Yeah. Randy Tissett.
Jim Crow. There's a whole slew up there that Palm Beach was a really good track.
Did you ever race at Key West?
No, we never ventured all the way down to Key West. But there were a lot of guys that came from Key West that moved up to the O'Galley area and raced with us at O'Galley. And Billy Collins. I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, C.R. Ogden, the mini stock guy champion there at O'Galley. He came from Key West. So there was a lot of them that ventured up and relocated to the O'Galley, Melbourne area.
I'll be darned. The Allisons talked about running that track. I think it was Stock Island was the name of it?
Yeah, Stock Island was the name of it.
It would just take forever to get down there. And they would have to make it worth their while to get down there for sure.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I guess if you want to race, you're gonna go race no matter where it is.
Yep, that's what it gets.
Interesting. Would you consider O'Galley your home track?
Yeah, O'Galley was pretty much the home track when it was running. And then we ventured out, when O'Galley closed up, or O'Galley changed to Melbourne, and then it closed up, and we started venturing out, going to Bithlo on Friday nights, and then New Smyrna on Saturday nights.
Right.
And then setting up the tire business, we would usually split up, and I would go to one track and Wally would go to another track on Saturday night. So we were doing Orlando or Bithlo on Friday night, and then Saturday night I would go to New Smyrna and Wally would go to Auburndale.
Oh, really?
So that was the areas that we concentrated on.
Yeah. So you guys were pretty busy then, weren't you?
Yeah, we stayed busy.
Yeah. That's great. Now, did you have a favorite track?
Favorite track? Well, the favorite track probably would have been West Palm, but it's long gone now.
Yeah.
But
How did you get your cars to the track? Flat tow trailer?
open trailers, and that's one of the things that everybody talks about now. Everybody's got an enclosed trailer. Well, in the old days, when you saw a car being trailered down the roadway, a race car, boy, that caught your eye, and you were looking to see, well, where are they going to?
Yeah.
And you don't see that now. And it's the same way. There used to be so many tracks, and Wally and I sat down and figured out the number of tracks that are still running in Florida. And I sat down and I, from 1967 to 1980, I raced on 17 different tracks
Really?
in Florida.
Holy cow.
And out of those 17 tracks, 10 of them are closed.
Oh, man. I'll be darned.
They're gone.
Yeah.
So that's just the number of tracks that have gone away is
That's
something.
Yeah.
But you used to drive around, and every filling station you saw, every gas station you saw, there was a race car there, or a tire shop. There was a race car sitting out there, and it was good advertising for the local tracks.
Oh,
and,
sure.
And it caught your interest as you drove around.
Yep. Yeah, that was exciting too for us kids. And hey, there's a race car. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would draw business in for
exactly.
That's amazing. Yeah. So your first. Oh, okay. We're gonna go to a break here real quick. But when we come back, I'd like to hear about your first race on asphalt.
Okay.
All right. And we're gonna be right back with Phil Finney, everyone.
Yay.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate that. This segment's being brought to you locally by Staples on International Speedway Boulevard. Anything for the office, they can hook you up. And also, if you go to the Legends of Racing radio show YouTube page, you can watch the show live, and then an hour later on Facebook you can watch the show. So a couple of different ways there that you can see what we're doing. So yeah, I was going to ask you about your first asphalt race, because you had had some dirt experience, and did that help you with the asphalt?
I think so. Coming back from California, we had a car a late model that we were running on the dirt at Jacksonville, and then we went to Ocala.
Was it the old Jacksonville?
The old Jacksonville Speedway Park.
My favorite racetrack.
And that was, that was a big round. It was pretty much round all the way around, and it was the old oiled dirt.
Yeah.
and it would almost get like asphalt. But going up there, there was always in the wintertime when they'd run the 200 lap races, you'd have Tiny Lund, Tom Pistone,
Probably Leroy.
Leroy,
Uh-huh.
even Bobby Allison showed up also.
Oh, be darned.
There was always big names that would show up to those dirt races.
Yeah.
But so transferring over to asphalt really was not that big of a change, because most of those tracks they packed down so hard it was like asphalt.
Yeah. Now you ran your first NASCAR race, a Cup race in '71.
Yeah.
At Richmond.
Yep.
The old Richmond.
The old Richmond Fairgrounds track.
Yeah.
And it was just a little. I'm trying to think. They call it it was a half, just over a half, I believe. But not like it is now. It's what they call it, a 3/4, I believe.
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
But
Yeah.
if you look at the overhead of the track, if you go down the backstretch and down the pit area, that was the size of the track.
Oh, okay.
But now they made it like a tri-oval out to the flag stand and all to enlarge it.
Yeah. Now what prompted you to go to Cup? That was a big step for you, wasn't it?
Well, yes, but we were venturing out. That was it was everybody's dream to in a stock car that okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a race car driver. Even back then.
Yeah.
Until you do it and try to get there, you don't know what it takes. And it was a big undertaking to get there. Everything you had to have. The teams now, there's no comparison to it. But you had a lot of independents and that were going along, showing up to the races, and you learned a lot. There were a lot more cars. You'd go to the races and you'd have 10 to 15 cars that didn't make the show. Because they had that many extra cars. Just starting 30 cars and there would be that many over.
I'll be darned. Yeah. Now, did you build your own cars?
Well, we bought a car and then we modified it and made changes to it like we wanted. But yes, we did most of our own work.
Yep.
Where did you get your pit crew from? Who were they?
The pit crew was pretty much all family and friends that came around and hey, we want to help, we want to go, and we had some young guys just out of high school that were doing construction type jobs that it would come race time and they'd tell their boss they needed time off, and if the boss didn't give it to them, they'd say, well, I'll quit, and then they'd go back Monday and tell them, I need a job now, and they'd hire them back on.
That's funny. What's the best advice you got from anybody in NASCAR? Was there anybody that kind of took you under their wing?
Didn't have in '71. There was really nobody that took you under your wing, but they kind of guided you and said, don't do this, don't do that. Probably Frank Warren was one of the ones that he would give you ideas and things to develop on. Although he was running a Mopar Dodge product, we had Chevrolets, but still there was stuff that, as far as handling and springs and shocks and whatnot, they would tell you what to do.
Yeah, after after Frank got out of NASCAR, he went to work for Disney, and he was in charge of the maintenance for all the rides at Disney. He was there for years and years.
Yeah.
I think he's finally retired from there.
Yeah. Going back to the advice, our first trip to Richmond, we had engine problems and it rained out and we had to go back to Richmond again. But Junie Dunleavy let us go over to his truck shop and pull the motor out of the car and pull it apart to get it ready to go race the next day, which it rained out, so we didn't have to see if it was going to run the whole race. So Judy Dunleavy was really a good guy.
Yeah, he was a true Southern gentleman, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, what a great guy.
How did you land on Chevys? It looked like you had Chevys all your.
Well, Chevy's was the cheapest and easiest way to go, and Chevrolets were parts were easy to come by and very easy to work on.
Yeah, and the parts were plentiful, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. Did you ever get any work done by Smokey?
No, never got anything done from Smokey. When we first started, we bought an engine from Dygaard in Daytona when they were there in Daytona. When we were doing some of the super speedway stuff, we did a lot of our the last car we had we got from Hutchison Pagan, and basically we went through our local Chevrolet dealer and bought a body in white, which we had to go to Atlanta, and you got the body on a frame, and then we took it to Hutchison Pagan, and they basically did the suspension work on it and started the roll cage, and then we took it back home and finished welding the roll cage and doing all the sheet metal work on it and everything, and that was our best car.
I'll be darned. Is that right? Yeah.
Was there you mentioned getting the body in white and frame in Atlanta. There was supposedly a place in Atlanta that was like Home and Moody, except it was for Chevys.
I never heard that.
I hadn't heard that.
No. That would be interesting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was such a long time before Chevy came back into racing.
Yeah.
Once they got out. And, the people kind of tiptoed back in, not really knowing what they were going to do, what they were going to get. So you had Junior Johnson showed up with that one Monte Carlo with Charlie Glotz back.
Yep.
And he had Friday Hassler, who ran Chevys all the time, but he was kind of the back of the packer.
Yep.
And Chevy really didn't show much back in those days. But boy, things sure changed.
Yeah. Well, Junior was instrumental in getting a lot of that. The 180-degree headers that he designed, that the headers came together and went underneath the oil pan, and then came out the side, to which made it sound like the 180-degree header sounds like a buzz bomb.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that Junior was brilliant.
Yep.
He was amazing.
Was Daytona your first super speedway?
Yes, that was the first super speedway that I went. The first year that my first qualifying attempt at Speedway in '72 was I think 158 miles an hour. Of course, I think the pole at that year might have been 180. So it sounds like you were way off, but yeah, you were way off. But that was my first qualifying attempt at Daytona.
What were your first laps like at Daytona? How did it feel?
You were worried, trying to be aware of what was going on, and you talked about, you had your rookie class that they have people come down and talk with you, the different drivers, and more about holding your line, don't be weaving, when cars are coming up on you, just hold your line and don't move out of your lane.
Yeah, that's. I guess it was a whole different ball game there, a whole new revelation for you when you got to Daytona, huh?
Yeah, yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it's one of those things that all right, you're supposed to back off of the turns. No, not at Daytona. You hold it wide open.
Yeah. And how hard was it to keep your foot in the pot there?
Yeah.
It must have been something.
Yeah. And the other thing back then is that was before the radios. Drivers didn't have radios.
Yeah.
You had rear view mirrors. You had a big wide mirror on the top, and you did not have radios that told you, okay, car's coming up on you or what. So you had to be aware of everything there. So.
Boy, not like it is today.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Talladega with no spotters?
Yeah.
Holy cow!
And that was even in the pits. You had a pit board you did not have radios to tell you, okay, come into the pits, you know, so it was really different back then.
Wow, how tough was it to read that pit board as you're going by?
Well, SDP gave you a big pit board and big wide sidewalk chalk, so you made big letters, you know, and hopefully the guy was watching you go by and you get to see it.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with Phil Finney and a question from Big Mike.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's original North Turn has been voted by you Best Beach Bar Top 10 year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Hey, we're back again, halfway mark, cross flags here. And this segment's being brought to you locally by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the country by USA Weekend. Visit our Shop Now Network and our Shop Now at Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. And Big Mike, what you got for us today?
A lot of questions. Don't know that I've talked to too many people that's raced both coasts, East Coast and West Coast. And I agree with you. It's sad to see a lot of these small local tracks go by the way. I've noticed, though, in racing this week, the announcement that Venturini, that was one of the main contributors to the young ones coming up, decided to close shop.
Really?
I wonder, did you decide to, in fact, did you ever race any ARCA races?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm familiar with the ARCA racing, with the Kimmel family and Frank and his championships and those things. And there's talk between some of the media writers in sports whether Frank would belong with 10 championships and I forgot how many top 5s and top 10s in the hall. But with these non-high profile teams that doesn't get the funding, they're starting to go away now, and ARCA is basically now, instead of local, they're basically the major teams now putting their up-and-comers in that series and bringing them forward, and I wondered what you thought about that.
Well, the Venturini family, they've been in it a long time, and Bill and Bill Jr. And even Kathy, they were very instrumental. Remember when Venturini's had the all-female pit stop, the pit crew.
That's right.
That was a big thing. But Bill's been a great supporter of ARCA and saw the need for the driver development program, bringing in the young drivers, that he has been very close with a lot of the NASCAR stuff and got the Toyota backing, which helped him to do that. And again, Toyota wanted a good team with, they would supply the stuff for driver development for future Toyota drivers.
Well, that's going to be a big hole in ARCA with the Venturinis pulling out. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, that's you did pretty darn good with ARCA.
Yep.
That one time at Talladega, you qualified second, finished second.
Yep. We had, well, that was in '79, and going back to Mike, we're very much friends with the Kimmels, and my nephew Brian does a lot of shock work for them, even though they're all the way up in Louisville, Kentucky. And they're back and forth and talking about different things that need to be worked on or improved and whatnot. So, but anyway, thank you, Mike. But yeah, in '78 we ran our first ARCA race there at Daytona, and then in '79 we came back and ran. I don't remember where we started that year. I think 6th or something like that. But we had ventured out and gone to Miami and got with Rahilly Grady Racing Engines.
Oh, really?
Bob Rahilly.
Yep.
And Harold Grady. And so that was our first real good high horsepower motor, and it did the job. And the nice part about that was the motor came all ready, and then all I had to do was concentrate on the chassis stuff. That the motor was there, and called Bob to come down and set the timing, check the valves, whatever needed to be done, and it was way to go. So that was '79. That was Kyle Petty's first race, and first super speedway race, and of course I think he started on the pole. I don't remember, but we had started farther back in the pack and come through. We had a fast car, and he said to this day that we had the fastest car and should have won the race, but he thought that we'd hit a seagull. About 7 laps from the end of the race, a driver by the name of Gary Sharp blew his engine up in front of us, and the car went across the track and threw up debris and came through my windshield and busted the windshield. And I've got the piece of engine block right here that came through the windshield.
Jeez.
And it came through the windshield, went to the back of the car. Well, that was 7 laps from the end of the race, and we did not have a spare windshield. We went to the pits and taped the windshield up and went back out. We ended up finishing third. Kyle Petty won the race. But in all Kyle's comments about that, he said that we hit a seagull on a backstretch. So 2 years ago at the Streamline Hotel, I went and I took all my pictures and the piece of engine block and went and said, Kyle, let's get this story straight right now. So we had a good discussion with that piece of engine block. So yeah, we ended up finishing third that year, and then went to the Talladega race and we finished second.
Wow.
So and then came back in 1980, and we sat on the pole for the ARCA race, 191.807 miles an hour,
Really?
which was a track record for ARCA then at that time. And we led most of the race, and then that was the first year that they had live television coverage for the Busch Clash. So they stopped the ARCA race in progress.
Oh.
It turned cold that year, so the race got started late. And they stopped the race about midway through and put us to the infield. Engines cooled off, and then we went back out, and we ended up cracking a piston and blew the motor, so we did not get to finish. So that was the end of that.
Yeah, so close but yet so far.
Yep,
Huh?
yep.
Isn't that something funny how fate kind of bites you in the butt sometimes?
It happens.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, but you were really strong in ARCA.
Yep.
Back in that, you remember a guy named Rick Rowland?
Yep.
Yeah, he had a 200-mile-an-hour car.
Yep.
And that thing was a beast.
Rick, he had that 200-mile-an-hour car, but they called it the Roland Rocket.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was basically a if you're familiar with the Howe chassis, Ed Howe out of Michigan.
Right.
That was pretty much a short track chassis that he had kind of changed over and made to run the super speedway.
Oh, darn.
Well, all of your super speedway cars are the long truck arm type cars, And with those tubular trailing arms, ARCA and NASCAR, they did not like those tubular trailing arms from a safety standpoint on a big speedway like that. And they eventually outlawed the use of the tubular trailing arms on the super speedway like that.
Oh, darn.
So yeah, but they call that Roland's Rocket.
Yeah, he made a name for himself there for a while.
Yep.
He was strong. Ren Arca.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Phil Finney, everybody.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you. And we've got Tony Hines here, my pinch hitter, I guess you could say. He'll be around for a while, won't you? Good. Okay. This segment's been brought to you by the Homewood Suites by Hilton over on Bill France Boulevard, right around the corner from the Speedway. Complimentary breakfast, complimentary happy hour. Every room's a suite. It's a really nice place. So if you have anybody coming to town, you want to show off a little bit, go ahead and hook them up with the Homewood Suites by Hilton. And so when did you decide that you were going to get out of ARCA?
Traveling from Florida was such a long trip. Everything that most of the ARCA races back then were, everything was in the north. The only races they ran in the south was Daytona and Talladega.
Right.
Since then, they've added on. They come down to Pensacola now, and then they go to Charlotte now, which they didn't back when we were in ARCA. And coming up, they're at Talladega today, and then next week they're supposed to be in Nashville at the old fairgrounds track.
Oh, no kidding.
The ARCA East is at the old fairgrounds track.
Oh, yeah.
And my nephew, he's working on his car right now. They hope to go to Nashville next weekend. So
that'd be great.
We'll see how that turns out.
Is he a Finney?
Yes, he's a Finney.
Oh, good. We'll have to keep an
Brian
eye out
Finney,
for him.
and it's car number 80. So
how appropriate.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of work with some of the ARCA drivers and different things, and they've worked with Jeff Schofield out of Plant City. That's Jeff's been doing some ARCA races, and Brian has served as his crew chief most of the time.
All right. Is he really into it? Like, is it a sickness with him?
No, it's his job.
Oh, it's his job. Okay.
So
well, there you go.
He's gotten very good on the shock absorbers, which they've got a shock dyno, and they can build and rebuild the shocks and set up suspension packages that they recommend. So he's done really well with that.
Well, that's great. Great.
You were a racer. You had a tire and parts business. Did you have a a regular job?
Yes, my family, we have apartment commercial building rentals there in Merritt Island area. So that was supposed to be my main job, but racing kind of fell. That was the side. That was what you went and did for fun.
Yeah, really get your pressure off your back, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. I see your wife Bunny is here. How are you?
Yes.
And now, were you married to this guy when he was racing? Yeah, it takes a special kind of woman to be married to a race car driver, don't you think? Yeah. And you couldn't do what you did without her.
No. That's she was very supportive in everything we did, and have my two sons, and that was her big job was to be sure the sons were taken care of, and
Right.
that was one of the factors in as we were fixing to get out of racing. The boys needed more guidance, and it was time to work with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did your stepfather involve in racing for a very long time?
No, after we parted ways, he had a record business and different things, and no, he kind of shied away from us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you ever get the itch to do it again?
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't want to work that hard anymore. I go over by the race shop and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And but no, I don't want to stay until 12:30 at night, working on the car, and then have to get up at 7 the next morning to go and take care of the commercial building or something like that.
Oh, geez.
Just whatever needs to be done.
So you can't get too much of a good thing then, huh?
No.
Well, that's something. Yeah, so is that your job now, taking care of the commercial buildings and all that?
Yeah. We've got apartments and commercial buildings that I take care of, and my son Andy works with me on that. So keeps us busy.
Mm-hmm. Now, the shop, do you work on other people's cars, or do you build cars, or how does that work?
Yeah, they can take work in. They the people racing. You always wreck your car, and
Sure.
and so they've got a frame jig, and they can repair frames and make them back like new again.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll hang bodies, whatever needs to be done. They keep a full line of chassis parts and whatnot, and then they go a lot up to the auctions in Charlotte and whatnot, and buying race parts and bring them back and resell them.
Oh, really?
Stuff.
You still have the business of selling parts and tires?
Yeah, well, not so much tires, but pretty much most of the tracks have taken over the tire businesses. So
Right.
so you have to run that tire. You have to buy it at that track, because it got to where people were buying tires, and then with the tire softeners and all this stuff, they were trying to soak the tires, make them much softer.
People would do that?
Yes,
Really?
people would do that.
It's hard to believe.
So the tracks pretty much took over that they could kind of control. The tires were sold at the track, bought at the track,
Yep.
used at the track.
Okay.
So that pretty much eliminated us from the tire businesses.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. But now you're concentrating on parts.
Yeah, they selling parts and body parts, just different things like that. Just seats, and again, the shock absorbers was a big thing right now.
Right. Yeah, that's a science, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they work on all kinds of shocks, Penske's and Carreras?
Penske's, Carreras, just anything that is rebuildable, they can do it. They can, like I say, they've got the shock dyno, so they'll run it through and can show you, what it's doing. At what point, is the shock overheating? Does it get weaker the longer it runs? So, it's become a science.
Well, that's amazing.
Now, ARCA, you can still customize the shocks, but I think in like Cup and at least Xfinity, that's a standard.
They give you standard shocks that you have to run. Brian has worked on and got some packages that that you can run those in practice times, but when it comes down to qualifying, you have to use the shocks that they give you, which they're trying to standardize everything like that. But for the short track packages and whatnot, they you can vary the different valvings and whatnot.
Interesting. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Phil Finney, everybody.
Hey!
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1 and 2 bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Well, thank you very much. And Tony Hines, he's doing a fantastic job here. Thank you for sitting in for our old buddy Gary, who's up there in the great North Country. I hope it's quit snowing by now. Yeah,
It's up there. I don't care.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but I remember going to those ARCA races and seeing you out there. And where did the orange and white come from? That's such a pretty color, such a pretty combination.
We used to run everything red and white, and then over the years when we started with the speedway stuff, I believe my older son came up with the orange, white, and blue colors. And I don't know that it was Gator associated with the Florida Gators or anything, but it was just a color combination we came up with, and we pretty much stayed with.
Yeah. Well, it certainly showed up good on the track. That's for sure.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it worked out well. So, anything you regret?
No, had a good time racing, and tried to teach my boys along the way, that do everything and do it right, and they've continued on. They work in the Florida Karting Series with Todd Spade.
Oh, really?
And the Vega Dirt Series. They serve as officials for the go-kart, the dirt series that runs around the state of Florida.
Well, it's amazing what that circuit's doing.
Yeah, and they've got a race tomorrow in Fruitland Park. So, but they travel around the state with that. So.
Well, that's great. Yeah, talking to Norman about the go-karts, it's incredible the number of tracks that are around, the number of participants there are.
Yes.
And it's just a nice, easy, fairly inexpensive way to get into racing.
Well,
no.
nothing racing is inexpensive. You got three things in anything you do. You got good, you got fast, and you got cheap. Okay, good, fast, and cheap.
Right.
You can only have two of those three.
Oh.
So take your pick.
Okay. Yeah. And I believe cheap is going to have to be one of them, right?
If it's cheap, it's not going to be good and fast.
That's funny. Yeah, and another big part of this whole story is Phil's brother, Wally. Wally, how's it going there? There he is. Yeah. Is there anything you want to say? Would you like to take the mic and oh, he did great. Yeah. Yeah, but you're one of the unsung heroes, though, for sure. Yeah.
Kevin Harvick always asks his guest, what was your first car?
My first car was a 1950 Chevrolet Coupe. And that was
look at that
one right there.
I'll be darned. We got the pictures. Oh, that's great.
Yep.
That's a good-looking car.
Yeah. That was in Santa Maria, California, and that was you time trialed every night. So you had you took your fastest four cars and ran in a trophy dash, and that was the night I won the trophy dash. Of course, you get a nice trophy girl. And
Yeah, there you go. Boy, that's awesome.
at 17, that was, trophy girl that looked like that, That was
She's pretty nice. Yeah, so what color was that car?
that car was red and white.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's where you started the red and white combination.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah.
That looks like a flat disc
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah, that
It's
was
not a street.
That was a steel-plated wheel.
Oh.
They took the center out, and the dirt track can get pretty rough, and to keep from breaking through a wheel, they totally solid plated, and you ran the two right side wheels were solid plate. That was before you were really that knowledgeable about excess weight,
Oh, yeah. Right.
Now the thing is, you make it as light as you can, and
Yep.
back then it was just you make it tough and strong.
Yeah. No real science to it.
No, make it bulletproof.
Now you got an STP sticker and a Valvoline sticker. What did they give you? Some STP and Valvoline? Or?
Well, Western Oil Sales, that was one of our sponsors, and they provided us with all the oil and not so much STP, but he was he handled that. So.
Yeah. Now, your last race, was that in Daytona?
Yep, my last race was in Daytona.
That was the 4th of July?
It was 4th of July, Firecracker 400 in 1980, when they still called it the Firecracker.
Right.
May have been Pepsi Firecracker 400. But now you don't know, they put a name on a race and you don't even know where it's at.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that was my last race.
Yeah, and you just decided to walk away after that?
Well, I made it to the last lap, but I never made it to the start-finish line.
Oh.
If any of you are familiar with it, we were running, I think about probably 12th or 14th, something like that. And on the last lap, coming out of the number 4 turn, I lost control of the car. I don't remember it. It was a combination of heat exhaustion and carbon monoxide, and I don't remember a thing. It slid sideways, went inside, hit the inside dirt embankment, of which after that there were, I think, 5 or 6 incidents coming off the number 4 turn and hitting the inside wall and then flying up in the air. And they took and paved that whole area,
Right.
but at that time it was just grass.
Yeah, Calamity Corner.
And you can see the picture right here. The car is it's lifting off the ground.
Oh, boy.
It's fixing to fly.
Yep.
So
And fly it did, huh?
so, but no, it totaled the car, and I had a concussion and had a short stay in the hospital, had puncture wounds, but they cut my driving suit off of me. The helmet was cracked, so that was into my
Yeah.
my career.
That was it, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, no regrets, though.
No, I don't think so. Enjoyed up all the time, and the people we met, and the things we did, the place we got to travel to.
Yeah.
So it was a fun time.
Well, I bet that must have been something. You wouldn't trade anything for the world, huh?
Oh, no.
No. That's pretty good. Well, we thank you so much for being here today, and it really has meant a lot for us to come, for you to come up here, because we remember watching you all those years, and now we finally got to chew the fat a little bit.
Yep, very good.
It really
Well, I
nice.
thank you for nominating me for the Legend
Oh, yeah, the short track.
Legends
Yeah.
group. It was, very trying to think what to say.
Humbling.
Humbling.
There
you go.
Okay.
To be recognized with all those drivers that are already in that group.
Well, we were honored to have you, that's for sure. Well, we got a few folks to say hello to and thank you to. We got Danny on the board over here. She's working her little fanny off. Danny's fanny. And then we've got Mike and we've got George over here with the applause signs. And we thank Big Mike for the question. And if you remember Dave that used to have the applause sign here, he's not doing real well, and he could use your prayers and your good thoughts. And we're just hoping that everything's going to work out for him. But he was good with that sign, though. He could really whip that sign out there just like a professional. He was amazing. Really something. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
No, I thank you all for having me up here, and it's a great thing. Yeah, there one more. Yeah, well, no, I mentioned that about all the tracks that are disappearing.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you support your local racetrack, or else it'll be gone.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Don't forget Talladega this weekend. It's going to be crazy.
Yep.
And thank you for Phil Finney coming by.
Thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
We'll see you
Thank
next week, everybody.
If anybody didn't get a card, I have more up
I
here.
would love to have one.
The Legends of
Thank you, sir.
Racing radio
Appreciate that.
show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. Join us next time for the Legends of Racing radio show and your host, Buzz McKim.